The haunting secrets of gaming, 3 insane truths you never knew until now. In a world buzzing with pixels and points, secrets lurk in the shadows, waiting to pounce. Right under our noses, gaming has twisted into something chilling. Imagine this, legends of a cursed video game that allegedly claims the souls of players. Yes, you heard that right. Those who dare to plug in often report feelings of icy dread, long after the screen goes dark. It sounds ludicrous, but what if there's truth hidden within this wild tale? Are you brave enough to uncover what lies beneath the surface of your favorite pastime? Strange occurrences flood through the threads of the gaming universe like an electrifying current. You know that sound? The deep, throbbing bass that rattles your chest. Here's where it gets eerie. Rumors say that developers have embedded messages in the code, designed to resonate with those who dare to play. It's as if your own emotions are being pulled by strings, making your heart race or your palms sweat without you even realizing it. Crazy, right? But what's even wilder is this: players have reported hearing whispers during the game, faint, chilling voices nudging them to continue or turn back. The hair on the back of your neck stands up just thinking about it. Strange. Disturbing. What else could they be hiding? Suddenly, the lines between entertainment and the uncanny blur. You start hearing stories about mysterious glitches that seem almost alive. Items vanishing from inventories, or characters acting completely out of character, shocking manipulations that leave players chasing shadows. What if these games aren't just fun distractions, but rather portals to a hidden dimension, twisting reality with every controller click? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect, and just when you thought it couldn't get any more bizarre, enter the realm of the dreaded kill screen. Many believe this glitch, a terrifyingly abrupt end to a game, can unleash chaos on unsuspecting gamers. People have claimed to experience not just game crashes but vivid hallucinations, seeing figures emerging from the pixelated darkness, whispers growing louder and more frantic. They say, once you face it, there's no going back. But is this a mere fabrication or the unraveling of a deeper truth? As the screen flickers ominously, and darkness inches closer, a question lingers in the chilling air: are you willing to confront the unknown? As darkness draped over the room, Alex felt a sudden rush. The glow from his console flickered like an ancient lantern, illuminating his curiosity. He had heard the stories, the myths that shimmered on the edges of every gamer's chat forum. A cursed game? More like a siren's call to the brave or the foolish. He took a deep breath, hands trembling as he reached for the controller. Compelled by an invisible force, the game booted up with an unsettling hum, the screen filled with cryptic symbols that seemed to shift and dance. Each time Alex blinked, he swore he saw words swirling within the chaos. A chill ran down his spine. He hesitated, recalling the warnings: if you dare play, expect the unexpected. But the thrill of the unknown was too tempting. As the game began, it felt ordinary at first. Engaging characters, vibrant landscapes. Yet, gradually, the air around him thickened. The soundtrack shifted, pulsating like a heartbeat, each beat resonating within him. He shook his head, brushing off thoughts that gnawed at the edges of his sanity. It's just a game, he whispered to himself. Minutes passed, and strange things began to occur. Items he should have had in his inventory were missing, as if spirited away into an ethereal void. His character acted out of line, stepping toward hidden paths that didn't exist on the map. Was it a glitch? Or was the game alive? But then it happened. A cold whisper curled around his ear, slithering into his mind. Continue, or turn back. His heart thundered in response. It felt impossibly real, that voice. He glanced around, but there was only the flickering screen and the dark silhouettes of the room. Just a big bunch of hoaxes, he chuckled nervously, swallowing hard as he pressed forward. A haunting feeling nipped at his consciousness. The tension escalated, swallowing him whole. Every step felt like he was crossing a line into something infinitely darker. As he delved deeper, the graphics turned sinister. Distorted faces appeared within the shadows, mouths agape in silent screams. The whispers intensified, a cacophony turning his blood cold. Panic flooded him. Was it too late to turn back? Suddenly, without warning, the screen sputtered wildly, the pixelated characters glitching in and out of existence. And then, the kill screen. It loomed like a malevolent specter, demanding his attention. Alex's hands tightened on the controller. He couldn't look away, captivated by the tension that snaked around him. With a final pulse, the game darkened and plunged him into silence. The whispers ceased, replaced by an eerie stillness, thicker than fog. An unsettling quiet filled the room, pulling Alex deeper into uncertainty. He felt an invisible weight press down on him. Was it just a game crash, or was this the moment where reality and fiction bled together? Just then, a thought paralyzed him. What if those who ventured too far into this digital abyss never truly returned? Before he could shake off his unease, he heard a soft click from the console. The screen flickered back to life, a new game loading eerily and unexpectedly. His heart raced. This was not the end. There was more, and it beckoned him with haunting allure. What secrets lied in this new chapter? A sense of mortal dread settled in, zapping any remnants of bravery, but that wasn't the most shocking part. Before he could gather his wits, the screen flashed a cryptic message: "You have summoned me." With his palms slick against the controller, he realized he had become entwined in something far beyond mere entertainment. Was the game truly cursed? Or was it more sinister than he could ever comprehend? One question hung limply in the air, overwhelming him: what had he unwittingly unleashed? The new game loaded slowly, each pixel unraveling like an ominous shroud. Alex's breath hitched in his throat. The screen flashed vivid colors, drawing him in, yet a primal instinct screamed at him to stop. The message lingered in the back of his mind: "You have summoned me." He shivered. The command felt too personal, like a curse wrapped in an enticing package. As the familiar intro began, everything seemed different. The characters, once vibrant and familiar, morphed into hollow husks. Their eyes were dark, voids of despair that seemed to gnaw at every ounce of light surrounding them. White text blared across the screen: "Welcome back, Alex. Ready to play?" Uneasy laughter bubbled in his throat, halfway between disbelief and horror. Just a prank, right? Some low-level coding trick. He muttered to himself, but dread gnawed at his insides. The world around him felt alive, thrumming with a dark energy that wrapped around him like a serpent that he pressed the start button, palms sweating, every nerve in his body on high alert. Instantly, he was thrust into a twisted version of his last adventure. Shadowy forests and fractured landscapes loomed heavy before him. Even the soundtrack was no longer melodic. It was a jarring cacophony of whispers, each tone a tease that succeeded in pulling him deeper. "Why do you linger?" A disembodied voice echoed through the static, chilling him to the bone. Alex stammered, trying to respond, to defend his presence. I just wanted to try again." The words fell flat, dissolving against the oppressive atmosphere. The game didn't care for excuses. Instead, it presented obstacles he couldn't comprehend. Hidden traps erupted beneath him, pixelated spikes and nightmare creatures clawing out from between the shadows. A creeping dread started to weave into his consciousness. The character he controlled stumbled, responding like a marionette jerked by unseen strings. He pushed on, reckless desperation guiding his movements. Heart racing, he dodged traps, but each time he evaded danger, another sinister presence watched, unseen and patient. The further he went, the louder the whispers grew. "Do you fear losing yourself? A shrill voice cut through the noise, making him freeze. For the first time, he hesitated, the weight of consequence leaching into his resolve. Just a game, he chanted under his breath, hoping to soothe his own trembling hands. But he knew, deep down, this wasn't just about winning a match. He was venturing into territory where the lines blurred between fun and horror. Every shadow he passed whispered secrets, taunting him, promising knowledge at a price he wasn't ready to pay. Suddenly, the world around him warped. The vibrant colors drained into a washed-out gray. He felt a pull, a sensation merging game and reality. His heart raced as he saw distorted faces of familiar friends twisted in agony, names echoing in the void. What have you done? His stomach flipped, a sickening dread consuming him. This wasn't just digital, it felt impossibly real. He could sense their agony. The longer he played, the more their torment affected him. Desperately, he hit the pause button, but the option refused to show. He was trapped. Alex was losing grip on not just the game, but himself. The voices converged, growing louder, more insistent. You wanted to know, now you will pay. Just as the towering shadows began to close in, a single flicker on the screen caught his eye. Amidst the chaos, a new message glimmered like a beacon. One more chance, who will you save? There he stood on the precipice of decision, with faces desperate and pleading in his mind. What sacrifice would be demanded if he chose to proceed? With his hands clenched tight on the controller, the air crackled with possibilities. What horrors awaited if he pressed forward? Would he navigate through the twisted maelstrom, or would darkness consume him entirely? The whispers throbbed like a heartbeat, and Alex realized he was standing at the brink of madness. But perhaps, just perhaps, there was a way out. What would it cost him to find that escape? Alex's heart pounded, a relentless drumbeat in the silence of his room. The screen flickered, and the message pulsed like a heartbeat. One more chance, who will you save? He was teetering on the edge, sweat slick on his palms, pulse racing out of control. The air thickened, pressing down on him like a physical weight. Voices echoed through the void, growing more desperate, more urgent. He recognized some of the faces now twisting and writhing beneath the shadows, friends he'd known for years, members of his gaming circles, even a brother who always found time to beat him in the latest releases. Their features were warped, twisted into expressions of profound terror, pleading for relief, for salvation. And there was that one undeniable truth that gnawed away at Alex: he was responsible for their pain. Save them, a whisper floated to him, seductive yet sinister. With each breath he took, the decision loomed larger. But what did saving mean in this context? It was more than a game, and he knew it. It transcended pixels and programming. It was a manifestation of pure fear, desperate life, and the wicked core of humanity itself. He glanced back at the chaotic landscapes of the game, shadows pooling and swirling. If I keep playing, what if I lose them forever? The anguish clenched his chest, as the realization set in: he could end this, but at what price? Choose. The voice echoed again, louder, as if the game itself was pushing him, prodding him toward that imminent choice, one that carried the weight of existence. Alex pressed his lips together, mind racing with possibilities. Should he proceed? Or retreat into the comfort of oblivion, leaving the responsibility of their fate unaddressed? The choice tethered him tightly to the screen, as if invisible bands bound him to confront the horror laid before him. Breathless, he answered the question the game had presented. I'll save my brother. Yes, the one I can't lose. The words slipped from his mouth, a raw scream wrenched from the depths of his soul. The screen shimmered and warped. A surge of energy coursed through him. He felt the resonant pulse of the game wrapping around him like a cocoon, pulling him in. Shadows pulsed with life, twisting and turning as if forming a reality to imitate his fears. Then, everything changed as the world morphed once more. Colors exploded back into life, flooding the gray with intense brightness, disorienting him. Bright blossoms of digital nightmares glared down from a sky swathed in unnatural hues, while voices faded, leaving only a chilling silence in their wake. Just ahead, a figure lurked in the shadows, cloaked in darkness. It hesitated, shifting as if weighing its own next move. Alex's breath hitched in his throat as he recognized the silhouette his brother. "Mark!" Alex shouted, his voice fractured with a combination of hope and terror. The figure met his eyes, but instead of recognition, there was something else, a flash of horror, a glimpse of something ancient and powerful lurking just below the surface. "You shouldn't have come here." Mark's voice trembled, sending chills spiraling down Alex's spine. Reality wobbled around Alex as he fought the urge to retreat. Flames flickered in the distance, illuminating grotesque figures lurking just beyond perception. More friends. More traps. The stakes soared with every heartbeat, now escalating with urgency. "Save me, Alex!" Mark shouted, but his tone cracked, laced with dread. "You don't have much time." But the creature's eyes glinted with malice. It stepped forward, an amalgamation of nightmarish attributes, twisting and poised to strike. "Will you save him?" The voice resonated again, mocking, reverberating through the very fabric of the pixels. Alex was unfolding, the very soil of his existence quaking. Time froze as he prepared for the unthinkable. His hands trembled over the controller as fear coursed through him like electricity. Would he summon the courage to face whatever evil lay ahead? With mind racing, he raised the controller, every ounce of doubt turning into a burning flame of determination. He had to act, but in that act, would he unlock salvation, or unleash a nightmare? As the pixels shimmered, the shadows holding secrets of loss crept closer, darkness laughing in the face of hope. And then, Alex realized, the choices had only just begun. Alex steadied his breath, heart thundering in his chest like a war drum. He couldn't back down now. The flickering shadows pressed in on him, the sinister creature looming closer while Mark's desperate plea echoed in his ears. He wasn't just in front of a screen anymore, he was entrenched in a nightmare, and only he could rewrite the ending. The controller felt foreign in his clammy hands. He couldn't fail. He chose to fight. He pressed the joystick forward, and the world around him shifted, plunging into chaos. Fire raged, illuminating jagged cliffs that spiraled into the depths of dark oblivion. The creature snarled, revealing rows of jagged teeth as it lunged. "Get back!" Alex shouted, instinct kicking in, pulling the trigger on his controller just within the nick of time. A beam of blinding light erupted, colliding with the beast. It howled, a sound like nails on a chalkboard, and twisted in agony. In that moment, Alex felt a surge of raw power filling him, melding with his fear and hatred. Could he really defeat it? If he failed, would he lose Mark forever? "Keep going." Mark's voice cried from somewhere behind the chaos, urgency driving him forward. Digging deeper, Alex realized what the game demanded of him. He could not just rely on shooting blindly at the darkness. He had to understand it, confront its core. The aura pulsed ominously, shadows darting like whispers around him, trying to pull him away from the light of resolve. He scanned the area, searching for something, anything that felt familiar, a weapon or object of power hiding within the digital abyss. And then he saw it, an orb, shimmering and vibrant, half buried in the scorched earth where shadows danced. It radiated warmth, a contrast to the chilling presence all around. With a single breath, Alex dashed toward it, diving under the creature's massive claw just as it smashed down where he had stood. The ground shook beneath him. The orb was within reach, glowing softly against the encroaching darkness. He grasped it tight, its warmth spreading through him like a shield. Suddenly visions flooded his mind, images of past gaming sessions, laughter shared, victories won. He saw his friends, not as shadows, but as bright faces reflecting joy. The memories fortified his heart. "I won't let this stop me," he murmured through gritted teeth. He raised the orb, energy crackling at his fingertips. The darkness recoiled as he hurled the orb toward the creature. Time warped as it soared, cutting through the air, echoing with the hopes and fears of those he loved. The collision was explosive. Light erupted, folding the darkness in on itself, illuminating Mark's terrified gaze one last time before everything imploded into a brilliant shimmer, then silence. Alex blinked as he found himself back at the start menu of the game, heart racing and hands trembling. But something was different. The shadows felt less oppressive. In the bottom corner of the screen, a new message had appeared: "Congratulations, you've unlocked the reality level. Welcome to the truth of your choices." Confusion washed over him. What did this mean? His fingers hovered hesitantly over the controller. Could it be that this was just the beginning of a darker, more complex game? What new horrors awaited him as he advanced? He glanced back at the flickering screen, a chill running down his spine as he sensed something malevolent lurking in the code. His friends were still in danger, their fates entwined with his. With a deep breath, he pressed start. The digital landscape transformed, revealing twisted versions of reality that wove the familiar with the grotesque. Was he ready to face the horrifying truth? Alex felt the resistance of doubt cling to him. And as the next chapter of dread unfurled before his eyes, he realized, the stakes had risen, and now more than ever, it was about more than just saving a brother. It was about unraveling the true nature of the darkness seeking to consume them all. But even as he readied himself, he couldn't shake the question that thundered in his mind: what if saving them meant losing himself? The screen flickered, the colors swirling like a twisted carnival ride. Alex felt a chill crawl up his spine as the landscape morphed around him. Buildings warped and distorted, blending limbless statues with abandoned streets. It felt like he was staring into a nightmare come to life. "Where am I?" he whispered. His voice sounded small against the echoing chaos that surrounded him. This was no ordinary game level. Every pixel felt alive, pulsating with a menacing energy that sparked fear in the pit of his stomach. Out of the swirling chaos, echoes of familiar laughter taunted him, the sounds of his friends overlaying one another in a haunting symphony. "Alex, help us!" they cried out, their voices merging with sinister laughter. He hated that they sounded both close and impossibly far away. Panic clawed at him as he stepped forward. Every shadow seemed to stretch and warp, reaching for him with greasy fingers. He could almost feel their chill, brushing his skin, threatening to pull him under. He gritted his teeth. No, he had to focus. Confronted, he muttered under his breath. It was time to face what this nightmare truly was. But how? The words from the screen filled his mind. "Welcome to the truth of your choices." What choices? He stood in the midst of a cracked alley, debris scattered like remnants of hope. A sudden gust of wind carried whispers, words he couldn't comprehend, but they seeped into his bones, cold and familiar. His heart raced as he thought of Mark. If the game tied them all together, they were all part of this hell. Then he saw it. Glinting across a field of ashes. An arrow, marked by a pulsing yellow aura. Was it a weapon? A clue? Or something worse? The moment he reached for it, a flood of images burst through his mind: time spent in laughter, the carefree nights gaming with friends, conversations that held promises of forever. But intertwined with those memories lurked darker moments: arguments over petty things, jealousy that brewed like a storm, regrets left unsaid. Alex felt the weight of those choices pressing in on him. His mind raced, torn between the desire to fight back and the fear of what those memories could unravel. Taking a deep breath, one hand outstretched towards the arrow, he closed his eyes, letting the memories wash over him. He could feel the pull of each one, like a magnetic force urging him to take the leap. There was something he needed to remember. Something vital that was hidden in the shadows. With a surge of will, he grasped the arrow. Suddenly, the warmth surged through him again, igniting his senses. The game responded, the world shifting. New pathways opened before him, colors brightening, but the shadows still loomed, whispering secrets he wasn't sure he wanted to hear. "Alex! You did it!" a voice shouted. It was Mark, materializing from the murky depths of darkness. Alex felt a wave of relief, but it quickly deflated. The look on Mark's face sent shivers up his spine, a mixture of fear and urgency. "Alex, behind you!" The shadows writhed, forming into a mass, currents of darkness flowing toward him like a tidal wave. All at once, the laughter faded, replaced by blood-curdling screams. He suddenly felt cornered, like a rat trapped in a maze with no way out. He could run. He could fight. But he had to know what lay beneath the surface of this nightmare. As he spun toward Mark, desperate energy crackling between them, he stammered, "What's the truth we need to face?" Mark's eyes widened in horror, but whatever he was about to say was drowned out by the thunderous roar of the shadows tightening around them. "Find it!" Mark shouted. "Before it takes everything." The urgency ignited a fire in Alex. He readied himself to battle the darkness, but he knew this was only the beginning. With each choice came consequences, and he had to confront not just the shadows outside, but those lurking inside his own heart. Would they survive this together? Or would the secrets they uncovered tear them apart? As the echoing roar reached a crescendo, his world spun back to those ethereal whispers. What truths awaited him on the brink of the abyss? The shadows convulsed like a beast preparing to strike, and Alex felt the heat of their darkness creeping up his legs. Heart pounding, he clutched the arrow tighter, desperate for clarity in the chaos. "No time!" Mark yelled, his voice strained, urging Alex forward. "We have to move." The ground beneath them rocked, fissures opening like mouths hungry for attention. As they scrambled through the debris, the whispers turned into a cacophony, each voice distinct yet muddled, forming a twisted echo of their pasts. Alex could pick out fragments of laughter, arguments, cries of despair, all echoing into one terrifying declaration: "You made this." His chest tightened with the weight of realization. This game wasn't just a test of skill, it was a dark mirror reflecting every choice they had ever made. It was haunting and raw, a reminder of the mistakes and missed chances that lingered like scars on their souls. "Where do we go?" Alex asked, fear driving the words from his mouth. An answer felt critical, yet no light pierced the impending shadow. "Follow the path," Mark replied, glancing back over his shoulder. "The memories will guide us." As they moved, Alex noticed the alley morphing around them, each step igniting visuals of their troubled friendships, moments of betrayal that turned joyous laughter into bitter silence. A chill whispered through him, almost a tangible force, as visions tumbled forward: Paul's angry outburst that ended their gaming nights, Mia's tears when he chose an ally that was her. "Make it stop!" he shouted, hands pressed against his temples in desperation. He felt like he was drowning, pulled deeper by the torrent of regret, but then, there was a shimmering light in the distance, flickering like a beacon of hope. "That way!" Mark all but shouted, his voice breaking through the haze. With renewed determination, they rushed towards it. As they neared, the brightness morphed into a swirling vortex, tantalizing and ominous. Alex's heart raced as the same warmth from before spread through him. "What is it?" he asked, fear mingling with curiosity. "Maybe it's the truth we need," Mark replied cautiously. "Or maybe it's our end." With a deep breath, Alex pushed onward. The whispers grew louder, forming into coherent words he couldn't ignore. "Confront us, face what you are." An explosion of energy surged through him, a torrent of emotion, vivid and painful, threatening to pull him apart. The vortex pulsed, inviting yet terrifying, filled with the weight of every decision made. A storm of what-ifs and if-onlys spiraled around them. "No!" Alex shouted against the tide of memories, feeling conflicted between the desire to know the truth and the impulse to flee. "I won't let you overwhelm me." In that moment, the ground shook again, and shadows lashed out, hungry for his fears. Alex turned to Mark, eyes wide, adrenaline coursing through him. "We have to do this together." "Together!" Mark shouted, determination igniting his gaze. With their resolve intertwined, they stepped into the vortex. As the world pressed against them, Alex felt every heart-wrenching decision pulse through his veins, each memory a dagger, striking deeper than the last. They screamed together, and in that sound, something clicked. The darkness wailed, churning around them, but Alex held on, holding Mark's hand tightly. They were united not just by the game but by their bond, the core of their entire friendship. But the shadows weren't done yet. As memories began to fade and their surroundings warped, a horrifying truth struck home: the games they played weren't just virtual, they were measures of their lives, and the stakes had never been higher. What would they uncover in the depths of their past? As Alex and Mark plunged deeper into the unknown, a chilling thought gripped him: was this nightmare a consequence of their choices, or a new game altogether, orchestrated by someone else? Every second brought them closer to revelations they may not be ready for. What truths awaited them, and would they be the ones to pay the ultimate price? The moment they crossed into the vortex, reality twisted like a rubber band pulled too tight. Alex gasped, the air around them thick with tension. Colors bled together in a swirling kaleidoscope. Shadows reached out from the edges, clawing at his skin, each touch igniting pain laced with familiarity. Time warped. One moment they were grasping each other's hands, hearts racing in sync, and the next they stood alone in a stark landscape, a place that felt both foreign and hauntingly familiar. Blocks of concrete rose like tombstones against a backdrop of ghostly gray skies. The weight of unfulfilled expectations hung low, suffocating them. This isn't right. Mark's voice trembled. Panic laced his words. Where are we? Somewhere between our past and whatever this is, Alex replied, scanning the desolate surroundings. As fear gripped him, a low whisper slithered through the air. What if this place is us? What if it reflects our failures? Suddenly, images erupted from the ground, forming scenes from their lives, moments that had once been long buried. There was Paul, his voice thundering in a hazy recreation of the argument that ended their friendship. You cared more about the game than about me. Paul's echo faded into the air like a whisper lost to the wind, but Alex could still feel the pain, the anger, the betrayal. Dude, we have to keep moving. Mark urged, shaking Alex from his trance. We can't let this consume us. They ran, though each step felt heavier, weighed down by the past. The landscape morphed again, shifting into an all-too-familiar playground, their childhood kingdom. The laughter of younger voices rang out, innocent and carefree, yet it twisted painfully, morphing into screams of disapproval. Alex! Come back! Echoed a timid voice. Mia, her face pixelated and distorted, in the middle of a swing, swinging higher, higher, as if defying gravity. The image broke apart, fracturing into shards of glass before collapsing like a house of cards. Stop it! He shouted at the shadows that writhed around them, mocking his vulnerability. You can't keep using this against us. Focus, Alex. Mark grabbed his shoulder, pulling him back from drowning in memories. We need to find the center of this chaos. In the distance, light shimmered like a mirage, contrasting the bleak darkness surrounding them. They sprinted toward it, the whispers heightening in intensity. You have to face it, accept what you've done. It felt like a chant, a hypnotic rhythm pounding in his mind. As they drew closer, the light revealed a warped carousel adorned with shadowy figures. Familiar faces sat upon the horses, friends they had lost to their choices. There was Paul, Mia, even Steve, friends who had once been there, now ghosts of the past. The carousel began to spin faster, the echoes of laughter turned to screeches of despair. Alex! Mark coughed, desperation lacing his voice. This is a trap. We can't let it pull us in. But Alex felt an inexplicable pull toward the glittering light, an urge to uncover the truth. What did it want from him? What unresolved anger, love, and fear lurked beneath the surface, waiting to be unveiled? Mark, before Alex could finish, a shadow erupted from the carousel, looming over them like a wave threatening to crash. Dark tendrils reached for Alex, slinking along his arms, gripping him with icy fingers. The memories screamed louder, now not just echoes but warnings. Face what you have created. The voice surged around them, insistent and furious. Hold on! Mark shouted, gripping Alex's arm with a strength that cut through the panic, but as the darkness pressed in, Alex felt a shattering realization. It wasn't just about confronting their past, it was about unraveling the very essence of their lives and decisions, laid bare for judgment. Together, Alex whispered, and with that, they collided against the shadows, a desperate bid for salvation amidst the chaos. would they uncover the truth that bound them to this nightmare? Or would the darkness finally consume them? Every heartbeat echoed with uncertainty as the shadows closed in, and Alex braced himself for an unveiling he may never be ready to confront. The darkness clung to Alex like a thick fog, pressing in around him as if it wanted to swallow him whole. The icy tendrils retreated for a heartbeat, leaving him gasping for breath, but the carousel continued to whirl, its shrieking laughter echoing in his ears. Each face on the horses twisted with anguish, their eyes pleading for acknowledgement, for recognition of the choices that had torn them apart. Mark. The name tore from Alex's throat, desperation clawing at him. But the shadows tugged at him, like 1,000 whispers crashing over the sound of his escalating heartbeat. What do we do? Don't let it take you. Mark shouted, his voice cracking against the madness. He steadied himself, pushing back against the darkness, but it was relentless. Don't give in. Alex felt the memories crashing over him in waves, blurring the lines of reality and dream. Childhood adventures morphed into teenage regrets. A sudden pang of guilt speared through him when he thought of letting their ambitions around the gaming world consume their friendships. With each pulse, another failure emerged from the void days spent in front of screens, ignoring the very connections that had once defined their lives. Alex, remember why we did this? Mark urged as they struggled against the encroaching darkness. We wanted to create something amazing, to escape. We can't lose ourselves in what went wrong. But even as Mark spoke, the surrounding shadows took shape. Their little victories and losses became grotesque caricatures of their failures, and Alex felt the world sway. Memories of broken promises danced before him, his fists clenched involuntarily, his heart racing faster than his thoughts could keep up. Focus on the good. Mark shouted, his eyes wide with horror as new shadows materialized. Think of all the people we've touched, the excitement we've shared. A flicker of light pulsed somewhere within the darkness. An image emerged, warm and golden, a reminder of laughter and camaraderie. The memory of their first gaming convention surged forward. Strangers turned friends, a shared passion for the digital world that had no limits. Right. Alex responded, a fire igniting within him. We didn't just break everything. We also built something beautiful. As he summoned the laughter, the joy they had shared, the shadows recoiled just enough for Alex to take a decisive step into the light. The carousel spun wildly, but now instead of terror, it filled him with determination. He reached out to the faces from the past, their eyes no longer filled with blame but with a yearning for resolution. Together. He yelled, gripping Mark's arm tightly. Let us own our truth. In an instant, they charged forward and plunged into the glimmering light radiating from the center of the carousel. Together, they could rewrite the narrative, reclaim their lives from the darkness that had tried to imprison them. The moment they crossed that threshold, the world exploded around them. Colors erupted, each shade representing an aspect of their journey: victories, love, heartbreak, and each burst sent shockwaves through their souls. Hold on. Mark cried, but his voice blended with the cacophony of memories swirling around them. As the carousel whirled into a vortex of stars, the light pulsated, threatening to engulf them completely. Images transformed, reshaping their fears into support, their regrets into lessons. But as new paths beckoned in the shimmering void, the shadows loomed larger, revealing a more sinister truth, one they couldn't escape. Alex, is there more we don't see? More we haven't faced? Mark's voice strained under the weight of urgency. Before Alex could respond, a deafening roar shot through the air. The light flickered, warping as it pulled them deeper into the unknown, and the shadows materialized once again. Face what you have created. It echoed, now laden with a chilling promise, and just like that, Alex and Mark were catapulted into darkness that threatened more than memories. It had something far more ominous waiting for them. What awaited in the heart of the shadows? Could they confront the truth behind their darkest choices, or would some secrets remain buried, waiting to unravel their very beings? The shadows danced around Alex and Mark, a swirling tempest of echoes and memories as they tumbled through the darkness, barely holding onto each other. The explosion of colors had faded, leaving them alone at the precipice of fear and helplessness. What if facing them means facing ourselves? Alex whispered, the enormity of the situation pressing down on him. Every heartbeat reminded him of the ties that bound them to this nightmare. Then we do it together, Mark replied, his voice steadying Alex's rising panic. We didn't come this far to turn back. We've got this. With that, they stepped forward, apprehensively penetrating the shadows, swirling like a living entity, daring to confront the truth that had haunted them. As they emerged from the darkness, a malformed creature loomed before them, a monstrous representation of every regret and mistake they had ever made. Its face morphed into grotesque fusions of their past friends, expressions of anguish stretched across the many faces that ghosted through its form. Face what you have created. It hissed, the voice a chilling mix of all who had fallen victim to their choices. It slithered closer, shadows wrapped around Alex like chains, seeking to entrap him in a spiral of trepidation. Together. They shouted in unison, grasping tight to one another. In that moment of unity, they gathered their thoughts, recollections piling high in their hearts. They thought of the laughter shared, game nights with pizza, fields of adventure conquered together, friendships that had once been bright and untainted but were now entangled in unsettling memories. Each happy moment became fuel, a warm light ignited at the center of their chests. We won to let you defeat us. Alex yelled, pouring every ounce of determination into those words. Light burst forth, illuminating the destructive creature that loomed over them. Together. Mark added, as they pressed forward, feeling that shared warmth spread between them, solidifying their bond as brothers in arms. They extended their hands, pushing an overwhelming rush of positive memories toward the creature. With each gesture of strength and camaraderie, the darkness began to pulse and quiver. Faces slowly morphed from pain to relief, flickering like candle flames in a storm. The creature hesitated, burdened by the weight of the memories pressing strongly against it. We're more than our failures. They shouted in unison, each word resonating, transforming the once terrifying entity into something slighter, less intimidating, with one, final, united chant of we choose friendship, we choose hope. A blast of light erupted, cascading over every inch of despair. The shadows recoiled, screeching in protest, battling the rising tide of their love and shared experiences. Pulsating light flooded the space, scattering the darkness like a wave as the vile creature dissipated. They were enveloped in the radiance, warmth spreading through them as whispers turned from accusations into reassurances. They stood amidst a dazzling expanse, surrounded by the faces of lost friends, no longer consumed by anger but filled with peace. Each spirit glimmered brightly, exchanging words of acknowledgement and forgiveness, a recognition of growth amidst pain. What happened? Mark asked, confusion flashing across his face as they took in their surroundings. It seems we've rewritten our narrative, Alex said, awed by the transformation unfolding before them. We faced the shadows and chose to emerge as something better. Suddenly, a brilliant light flared and streamed above them, morphing into a portal that welcomed them back home, away from the chaotic world behind them. It shimmered like stardust, beckoning with warmth and possibility. Let us go, Alex urged, gripping Mark's hand gently. They stepped forward, heartbeats synchronizing, and bright light enveloped them just before they crossed the threshold, dragging the last threads of darkness away forever. As they emerged on the other side, the room shifted back into familiarity. The flicker of Alex's console, the glowing lights of their gaming setup, everything felt the same. But a profound silence reigned. The tension of foreboding that once hung thick in the air had vanished, replaced by peace. Did we do it? Mark asked, glancing around, disbelief flooding his words. Alex nodded, inhaling deeply. Yeah, we did. We faced it together. The doorbell rang, startling them. Their friends, the ones from the game, stood beaming in the doorway as if reawakened from the depths of their nightmare. Paul, Mia, and all the others, alive and free, laughter echoing around them like a chorus of newfound joy. Game night? Paul quipped, a smirk playing on his lips. The air buzzed as Alex and Mark exchanged glances, recognition and warmth flooding their hearts, knowing this was a fresh start, one filled with reformed bonds. "Yeah," Alex responded, grinning. "Let us go." As they entered the living room, ready to reconnect and embark on new adventures, a new message popped up on Alex's screen. "Do you wish to start a new game?" With a shared laugh, they all settled in, ready to explore realms beyond, but this time with unwavering strength in friendship, connectivity, and acceptance of their past. Somewhere deep inside Alex and Mark, a promise echoed brightly: they would lift each other when darkness threatened. They wouldn't just play the game, they would live it. Now that you've reached the chilling conclusion of Alex's journey, it's time to make your mark. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the thrilling new stories coming soon. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help others discover these wild tales. Flood the comment section below with your reactions and theories about what just happened. And don't wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel the rush of this story. Your support fuels this journey. True fans, let us keep the adventure alive.